Welcome to Scotland, where the wind sings in stone corridors and the land holds memory like a sacred vow. Here, at the crossroads of myth and history, we arrive in Edinburgh, a city of stories etched in volcanic rock and whispered through cobbled winds. Edinburgh rises like a dream between centuries. The old town clings to the spine of an ancient ridge, where weathered tenements lean close like gossiping neighbors. Above it all looms a castle, forged from basalt, sentinel of time and turmoil. Below, the royal mile stretches toward Holyrood, a ceremonial thread stitched through the soul of the city. There's a hush to mornings here, a kind of reverence. Fog rolls in soft as flannel, wrapping spires and chimneys in quiet mystery. The air smells of moss, soot, and salt. In winter, the sun is shy, casting a pale gold that feels more remembered than real. But come summer, light lingers until nearly midnight, setting sandstone aglow like honey. You hear in the music, buskers with fiddles and flutes, echoing off alley walls. You feel in the pace, unhurried, observant, slightly melancholy. And you see it in the faces, poets, students, eccentrics, and storytellers, each one shaped by the city's curious charm. Wander through Dean Village, where time seems to pause by the river's edge. Climb Calton Hill to catch the last blush of daylight, or step into the silence of Greyfriars Kirkyard, where history sleeps in crumbling grace. There is beauty here, not loud or showy, but layered like the pages of an old book. And for the traveler, a few gentle thoughts. In Edinburgh, tradition walks beside the modern. Respect for the past is felt everywhere, from the way tea is poured to the silence observed in solemn places. Dress in layers. The weather is famously fickle. A sudden shower may greet you after a sunbeam, and the wind knows no warning. Scots are warm beneath their reserve. A friendly cheers can mean hello, goodbye, or simply thank you. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Locals are proud of their city and generous with advice. Try the haggis, even if just once. Its richness is best understood with a dram of whiskey by your side. Vegetarian versions abound, equally hearty. For sweets, seek out tablet, a melt-in-your-mouth confection that speaks of childhood and heritage. Walk when you can. The city's heart is compact, its details best discovered slowly. The sound of your footsteps on stone is part of the rhythm. Buses and trams are reliable. Just have your contactless card ready. Tipping is modest. Rounding up is often enough. Pounds are the currency, not euros. And while most places accept cards, a few coins in your pocket go a long way in old markets or cafes. If visiting in August, prepare for the festival, a sprawling celebration of art, theater, and life itself. Streets overflow with creativity, laughter, and surprise. But if you seek quiet, come in spring or autumn when the city sighs and settles. Safety here is a matter of awareness, not anxiety. Watch your belongings, especially during crowded events, and always follow local advice near hills or lochs. Above all, listen to the wind brushing Arthur's Seat, to the silence in St. Giles Cathedral, to the way Edinburgh speaks, not in shouts, but in echoes. And as you leave this place, something lingers. Maybe it's the sound of footsteps on wet stone, or the smell of old paper and peat smoke, or the knowledge that here you walk beside ghosts and legends. In Edinburgh, the past doesn't disappear. It waits for you around the next bend, in the hush before dawn, and the feeling that something ancient just passed you by. Welcome to Edinburgh, a city where the old stone breathes and shadow speaks softly through the mist. Here, on cobbled streets and beneath weathered spires, the past lingers like a scent in the air, familiar yet unreachable. Edinburgh rises in layers, a city built upon itself, from the volcanic crag of Castle Rock to the green sweep of Holyrood Park. It is both fortress and sanctuary, a place where history rests in the bones of buildings and the rhythm of footsteps. The wind carries stories here. It moves through narrow closes and along the Royal Mile, rustling kilts, lifting scarves, whispering in the ears of travelers and poets alike. The light changes quickly in Edinburgh, golden one moment, gray and brooding the next, as if the city is always remembering something, always almost telling you. The castle watches from above, its stone darkened by centuries of rain and rebellion. From its battlements, you can see the sprawl of the new town below, precise, elegant, rational, laid out like an Enlightenment dream beneath the Gothic chaos of the old town's tangle. Down on the streets, buskers play violins that echo off stone, and the smell of roasting coffee and baking shortbread mixes with the scent of damp stone and worn leather books. Close your eyes, and you can feel it all. The pulse of the past, the press of memory, the weight of stories too many to name. And yet, for all its history, Edinburgh is not frozen. It breathes with life. Students racing through the meadows, families picnicking in Prince's street gardens, locals laughing over pints in cozy pubs that feel more like living rooms. If you're visiting Edinburgh for the first time, come with layers. The weather is a dance partner with a mind of its own. Sun, wind, rain, all within the hour. A warm, waterproof jacket and shoes that can handle cobblestone are essentials. Respect is a currency here. The Scots are kind but value sincerity. A quiet thank you, a nod in passing, and giving space in narrow alleyways go a long way. When in doubt, follow your nose and your ears. Wander the old town slowly. Let yourself get lost in closes with names like Flesh Market and Bakehouse, where the stone leans in and time feels thinner. Food is hearty and honest. Try Cullen skink, a creamy smoked haddock soup, or haggis. Serve with neeps and tatties, and a dram of whiskey to warm the bones. Vegetarians will find comfort, too, in root vegetable stews, oat cakes, and sweet, buttery tabble from corner shops. English is spoken, of course, but listen for Scots. The cadence is lyrical, thick with affection and sharp wit. Even if you don't understand every word, you'll feel its warmth. Dinny fash means don't worry. Bra means fine or excellent. Use them sparingly and always with respect. The currency is a pound sterling, and while tipping isn't obligatory, it's appreciated. 10% at restaurants is considered kind. Tap to pay is widely accepted, though some small shops may prefer cash. Take care crossing the streets. Traffic can surprise you, especially where old lanes defy logic. Look both ways and take your time. Be mindful in sacred or quiet places, churches, galleries, old cemeteries. Edinburgh's stillness is part of its gift. Respect it. And if you're here in August, the city becomes something else entirely. The festival unfolds like a living organism. It breeds art, theater, movement, madness. Streets filled with performers, visitors, laughter. It's a different city then, still Edinburgh, but aflame with creativity. But even in the quiet seasons, the colder months, when fog curls low around Arthur's Seat, Edinburgh holds you close. There's always somewhere warm to duck into, always a cup of tea, always a story. As you walk toward dusk, with the sky turning silver and the air beginning to bite, you might catch a lone piper playing near the Scott Monument. The tune may be mournful or joyful. It's sometimes hard to tell with bagpipes, but either way, it lingers long after the sound has faded. And that's what Edinburgh does. It lingers in your clothes, in your lungs, in the corners of your memory. You may leave the city, but it won't quite leave you. Glasgow doesn't whisper, it hums. A low, steady vibration that pulses through its streets like a heartbeat beneath stone. This is a city alive with contrast. Victorian grandeur beside brutalist edge. A working-class soul dress in mural-covered walls and midnight poetry. Here, sandstone glows redder, bolder. Rain polishes the pavements like glass, and music spills from every corner. From concert halls to corner pubs, from symphony to street punk. The city moves with purpose, yet its kindness slows you down. Someone will always hold the door, point you toward your stop, offer you a story for the price of a smile. Walk along the River Clyde, where cranes once raised ships for empires now lost to history. The echo of industry lives on in steel bridges and the bones of shipyards. But Glasgow has reinvented itself, not with forgetting, but with fierce resilience. Art, design, performance, it's all here, bursting from converted warehouses and hidden basements. The West End is where whimsy meets intellect, botanical gardens misted with morning dew, thrift stores stuffed with strange treasures, and cafes that smell of books and espresso. In Kelvin Grove, even the paintings seem to breathe, watched over by a suspended spitfire and the hush of reverence. This city doesn't put on airs. It doesn't try to charm you. And yet, without realizing it, you may fall for Glasgow harder than anywhere else. If you're visiting, a few soft-spoken suggestions. Glaswegians are known for their humor. Sharp, self-deprecating, and warm. Don't mistake the accent for gruffness. It's a melody once you attune your ear. A polite cheers or ta goes far, and a genuine laugh even farther. Dress for rain, even when the sky seems clear. A waterproof layer is better than an umbrella. The wind here plays tricks. Good walking shoes are essential. The city rewards those who explore on foot. Try a roll and square sausage at breakfast, or the unexpectedly comforting bite of a deep-fried Mars bar from a late-night chip shop. But also seek out its modern flavors, world-class vegan eateries, South Asian curries, and Michelin stars of prizes tucked behind unassuming doors. Getting around is simple. The subway, lovingly nicknamed the Clockwork Orange, is small but efficient. Buses and trains are reliable, though understanding local transit apps can help smooth the ride. Taxis are friendly and most accept cards, but always check. Tipping is appreciated but modest. A pound or two added for good service, or simply rounding up, is sufficient. Pound sterling only. Scotland's own printed notes are just as valid as England's, even if they look different. Be mindful in pubs and bars. Wait to be seated or served, and always greet staff with kindness. If live music begins, listen. Here, songs often carry the history of entire neighborhoods in their lyrics. Avoid taking photos of people without asking, especially in working-class areas where privacy is cherished. And know that pride in place is strong. Mock Glasgow, and you may get a raised eyebrow. Celebrate it, and you'll be welcomed with open arms. Spring brings blossoms to the parks, while autumn cloaks the city in rust and gold. In winter, lights reflect in puddles like little constellations. But summer, summer, is when the city stretches out, fills with festivals, laughter, and long nights that seem reluctant to end. In leaving Glasgow, don't be surprised if you carry a small ache, like the memory of an unexpected kindness. There's a rawness here, softened by sincerity, a place that wears its heart not on its sleeve, but in every note of music, every shared laugh, every rain-slick sunrise. The Isle of Skye waits at the edge of the world, where land yields to sea and silence speaks louder than sound. To arrive here is to exhale, to surrender, to feel the hum of something older than language pressing softly against your ribs. Skye is carved from mist and myth. Its landscape rises like a dream barely remembered. Jagged peaks, velvet moors, and lochs that mirror the mood of the sky. The Cuillin Mountains loom, sharp, brooding, almost unreal, while the choiring curves and folds like a painter's brushstroke come to life. Wind is constant here. It sings through heather and stone, carries the calls of seabirds and the far-off bleat of sheep. Light shifts with magician's sleight of hand. Sunbeams piercing rain clouds, rainbows vanishing into sudden blue. The air is briny, clean, and laced with peat smoke in the evenings. Every step feels like a story. Follow a narrow road past stone walls and grazing sheep. Stand on the cliffs at Kilt Rock, where waterfalls plunge into the sea, or wander the fairy pools, where icy water runs clear over smooth stones, tempting brave souls to wade in despite the chill. There's a softness to Skye that comes not from ease, but from resilience, a quiet dignity held in the land and in the people who call it home. And for those drawn to its shores, a few kind offerings. Respect here is not a performance. It's a way of being. Greet others with a smile or a nod. Even a passing car gets a lifted hand on single-track roads. Yield at passing places. Drive slowly. The roads are narrow, and the sheep are unimpressed by speed limits. Prepare for weather that changes not by day, but by minute. Bring waterproof layers, not umbrellas. Comfortable, sturdy shoes will serve you better than anything fashionable. This is not a place to rush or to try and conquer. Skye reveals herself to those who linger. Food is honest and deeply rooted. Fresh seafood, hand-dyed scallops, and salmon smoked over peat. Try the local cheese or oat cakes with a dram of Talisker whiskey, distilled just down the road. Tea and home baking are sacred rituals. Never pass up a scone. Cash is useful in remote corners, though cards are widely accepted. Petrol stations may be few and far between. Fill up when you can. Mobile service is patchy. Maps and kindness are better guides than GPS. Tread lightly on trails. Stay on paths, especially in fragile moorland. Don't leave litter. Don't chase wildlife for photos. Let this be a place of reverence, not conquest. Gaelic place names still hold sway here, echoing ancient sounds. Try learning a word or two, even if imperfectly. It shows you're listening. Skye is not a checklist. It is a living poem. And like any poem, it asks you not to rush the lines. As you leave this island, its silence follows. The kind that's not empty, but full. The kind that lingers in your breath and bones, long after the ferry pulls away. Skye does not beg to be remembered, but you will, always. Inverness sits where the river meets the sea, quiet and watchful. The capital of the Highlands is neither hurried nor loud. It unfolds gently, like a page turned in a well-loved book. Here, the river Ness flows like time itself, steady, silver, and reflective. The town holds a certain stillness, even at its center. Stone bridges cross the river in graceful arcs. The streets are lined with sandstone buildings that feel familiar, even if it's your first visit. A cathedral's spires pierce the sky, and beyond the rooftops rise the hills, green, rolling, endless. Inverness is a gateway, but it's also a pause. It's where travelers catch their breath before continuing northward, where stories settle into the skin like Highland mist. Walk along the riverbank at dawn, when the water blushes with the first light, or linger at sunset when the town glows golden, and the wind carries a distant sound, a lone piper practicing somewhere out of sight. It's a place for quiet noticing. The way the light hits the leaves, the curve of an old stone wall, the warmth of a cup of tea between cold fingers. If you're here, stay a while. Let the pace slow you down. A few gentle thoughts for your journey. Inverness is best explored on foot. The town is compact, its charms tucked between bookstores, bakeries, and old pubs. Don't rush. Wander across the Ness Islands, small wooded paths where the city disappears into birdsong and breeze. Cross the bridges and feel how the river anchors this place. The people here are kind, sometimes reserved, always sincere. A simple hello or morning, is often returned with a smile. If someone gives you directions, they'll usually do it with care, and maybe a story to go with it. Weather here is Highland weather, unpredictable and unbothered by forecasts. Bring a raincoat, even on a clear day. The sky is a restless traveler. Eat locally when you can. Try cullen skink, a creamy fish soup rich with smoked haddock, or venison stew, slow-cooked and soulful. You'll find good whiskey here too, smooth, earthy, and made with patience. English is spoken, of course, but Gaelic names still linger on signs and lips. There's a quiet pride in that language, even when spoken only now and then. Treat it with respect. Tipping is polite but modest. Rounding up or leaving 10% is enough. Shops and restaurants mostly accept cards, but some smaller places still prefer cash. Keep a few coins handy. This is a safe town, but like anywhere, travel with awareness. Watch the river if you walk at night. Its pull is quiet, but strong. And when you leave Inverness, you may not carry headlines or spectacle, but you'll carry something quieter, a sense of calm, a feeling of having been somewhere real, somewhere that listened to you just as much as you listened to it. Loch Ness lies deep and dark, a ribbon of mystery stretched between the Highlands. It does not dazzle, it broods. The water is ink-black, cold and still, and even on a sunny day, there's something shadowed about it, as if it holds more than reflection. This is a place that listens more than it speaks. The loch runs over 20 miles long, flanked by steep, forested hills and quiet villages. At times, it feels endless, a stretch of water that doesn't want to be solved. And perhaps that's the point. People come for the legend, the whispered shape beneath the surface. But Loch Ness doesn't need a monster to make it magic. Its beauty lies in the silence, in the low sweep of fog across the water, in the ruins of Urquhart Castle watching from the shore like a tired sentinel. Boats leave slow ripples behind them, vanishing quickly. Walk along the edge, and you may hear nothing but the wind fretting through pine or the lap of waves against old stone. This isn't a place to hurry. It's a place to feel. And if you're coming here, let the myth be just a beginning. Dress warm, even in summer. The loch hold is chill in the air. Rain comes in softly, then all at once. Bring layers, sturdy shoes, and something waterproof. The small towns nearby, Drumnadrut, Fort Augustus, are gentle places. People offer help if asked, but value their space. Be kind. Buy local when you can. A hand-knit scarf, a scone still warm from the oven, a story shared by a shopkeeper. There's no shame in hoping for a glimpse of Nessie, but the real wonder is everything else. The loch's weight, its silence, the way it makes you feel small in the best possible way. As you leave, don't look for closure. Let Loch Ness keep its secrets. It was never meant to be fully known. Portree rests gently along the curve of a bay, where colorful houses lean against one another like quiet friends, watching the tide roll in. It is a heart of Skye, soft-spoken, humble, and full of small, lovely details. Mornings arrive slowly here. Fishing boats bob in a harbor, gulls wheel overhead, and the scent of salt and seaweed hangs in the air. The town is framed by hills, with winding streets that invite you to wander without direction. There's music, too, sometimes drifting from a pub, sometimes from a lone fiddle at dusk. It weaves through the town like thread, stitching past the present. Portree is not a spectacle. It's a resting place, a hand on your shoulder, a pause in your journey that feels like coming home. Even if you've never been here before, take it gently. The town is walkable, but wear good shoes. The streets are uneven and the hills surprising. Cafes fill quickly in summer. Be patient. Everything here happens a little slower, and that's part of the gift. Try the seafood. It's as fresh as the tide. Langoustines, mussels, smoked haddock. Or find a bakery offering shortbread and warmth in equal measure. Tea is poured with kindness. Drink it gratefully. Respect the space. Locals live and work here. Step aside on narrow paths. Be kind to shopkeepers. Ask questions, but listen more than you speak. At night, the harbor lights shimmer across the dark water, and for a moment, it feels like the whole world has quieted. Portree may not ask much of you, but it leaves something behind, a sense of peace, a slower rhythm, and the gentle truth that sometimes small places hold the deepest rest. The road to Applecross is not just a path, it's a rite of passage. Bealach na Ba, the pass of the cattle, coils upward like a whispered dare. A single-track road, steep and sharp, climbing through moor and mist. Its hairpin bends cling to the mountain like threads in the wind. Clouds drift across the asphalt. The sea glimmers far below. It feels like driving into the sky. And then, just as suddenly, you descend into Applecross, a scattering of cottages, a beach of smooth stones, the sea wide and open as a breath. Time stretches here. The air is salt-soft, the silence deep. You've left something behind at the summit, and what greets you is stillness. A few gentle notes. Drive with care. The road is narrow and demanding. Let others pass. Use the passing places with patience. Never rush Bealach na Ba. Respect the mountain and it will let you through. Weather can turn quickly, bring layers and water. Even if you're just stopping for a view, the remoteness is part of the magic, but also part of the challenge. In Applecross, slow down. Enjoy a meal at the local inn, often simple, always heartfelt. Seafood caught that morning. Pints poured with a smile. There is no rush here, no performance, just space and sky and silence. And when you leave, you'll carry the road in your body, a curve behind the ribs, a stillness in the chest. This is what it means to arrive where few have gone, and to be changed softly by the going. The Cairngorms are not mountains that shout, they whisper. A vast and ancient plateau, shaped by frost and time, where pine forests breathe in mist and release stillness. Here, the land stretches wide, not high. It rolls and folds like a great woolen blanket, thrown over the bones of Scotland. Lochs shimmer quietly in hollows, deer slip between trees like ghosts. The sky feels closer here, bluer or grayer or just deeper. Walk into the Cairngorms, and something inside you slows. The trails wind through Caledonian pine woods, where sunlight filters like stained glass through tall, silent trunks. In winter, snow hushes the world. In summer, the heather hums with bees. There is no single view that defines this place. It's not a postcard. It's a rhythm, a long exhale, a place where wind has sculpted not only the land, but the soul of those who walk it. You don't conquer these hills, you keep them company. If you're venturing into the Cairngorms, prepare with care. The weather here changes without warning. A bright morning can turn to sleet by afternoon. Dress in layers. Bring waterproofs, even on clear days. And sturdy boots, not just for grip, but for respect. Plan your walks wisely. Some routes are long and remote. Carry food, water, and a map. Digital signals can disappear into the folds of this land. Let someone know your path if you're going deep. In towns like Aviemore or Kingussie, you'll find warm welcomes, pubs with open fires, shops run by locals who know these trails like memory. Ask politely, listen fully. They may point you toward places you'd never find on your own. Wildlife is everywhere. Red squirrels, ptarmigan, golden eagles. Observe quietly. Never feed, never chase. Just witness. That's enough. If you're driving, be alert for animals on the road. If you're cycling, give space to walkers. And if you're resting by a loch, take every bit of your litter with you. Leave no trace, only gratitude. This land has been lived in, loved, and protected for generations. Respecting it is not a rule, it's an offering. At night, under a sky free from city lights, stars spill across the darkness like frost. And in that quiet, under that endless canopy, you might remember something long forgotten, that you too are part of this vast breathing world. And in the Cairngorms, you are never lost, only held. Loch Lomond unfolds like a song, slow, sweeping, and deeply familiar, even if you've never heard it before. It's a place where water meets sky in a hush of silver, where wooded hills rise gently from the shore and boats drift like thoughts across the wide expanse. This is not a dramatic beauty, but a generous one, broad, welcoming, and endlessly still. Birdsong and ripples are the loudest sounds. The air carries pine, peat, and a hint of something older, something quiet and enduring. There's a softness to the edges of things here. The villages, Luss, Balmaha, Tarbet, are nestled and tender, offering warmth in tea, firelight, and gentle smiles. Paths curl along the loch's edge, inviting unhurried steps. You don't hike here to conquer. You walk to remember how to breathe. If you come to Loch Lomond, come without hurry. Dress for change. The sky is a restless painter, and rain can drift in like a passing thought. Layers, always. Good shoes, even if you plan only a short wander. This is a place for slowing down, not breaking in. Renting a kayak or taking a boat ride opens a different silence. Out on the loch, perspective shifts. Islands float like dreams, and the water holds your reflection gently. Respect this place. Litter is a wound here. Fires scar the earth. If you picnic, pack everything out. If you swim, do so carefully. The water is cold, even in midsummer. And when you sit at the water's edge, looking across to where the Highlands begin, let your thoughts be quiet. Let the stillness speak. And know that beauty like this doesn't ask to be captured, only met. The Outer Hebrides feel like the edge of the known world, a chain of islands scattered across the Atlantic, shaped by salt and wind and long memory. Here, time is softer. The land is low, the sky wide, and the sea always near. Beaches stretch in white arcs, kissed by turquoise water that could belong to the tropics, if not for the brisk air and whispering wind. Stone crofts stand weathered but proud. Sheep wander slow across open moors. And in the spaces between things, between sky and sea, past and present, you feel a stillness that asks nothing of you but presence. There is poetry in the light here. It moves quickly, gold, then gray, then silver. Shadows sweep across the machair, those wildflower meadows that bloom in June like quiet fireworks. Gaelic echoes and place names and voices. Songs older than the church float through wind and wood. The past lives here, not as memory, but as breath. Getting here takes time, a ferry that rocks with the rhythm of old tides. But that slowness is part of the invitation. Take it gently. Weather turns quickly, so dress in layers. The wind, especially on beaches or cliffs, cuts deep. Waterproofs aren't optional. They're kindness to yourself. Be mindful of local customs. In small villages, greet people as you pass. A simple nod, a smile. Respect Sundays. Many shops close. This is a place that still honors rest. Buy from the weaver, not the gift shop. Learn one Gaelic phrase. Watch where you walk. Fragile ground remembers your footsteps. And when you leave, don't try to carry it all with you. Just carry the stillness. The sound of waves on white sand. And the way the sky never seemed to end. The Trossachs are where the Highlands begin to dream, a place of deep woods and glinting lochs, shifting light and soft hills, where every path feels like the opening line of a poem you once knew by heart. This is not the wild grandeur of distant peaks, but something more intimate, more secret. Mist clings to pine needles in the morning. The hush of forest floor muffles each step. And above it all, lochs lie stretched between slopes like mirrors, reflecting sky, tree, and the quiet ache of time. Here, you find beauty not in scale, but in story. Loch Katrine, long and narrow, cradles tales of Rob Roy and poets who came chasing light and legend. Rower Denon, Aberfoyle, Callender, all cradled in soft valleys, each with their own rhythm, their own welcome. The Trossachs are gentle with those who walk slowly. If you visit, move with care. Trails range from flat and fragrant to steep and root-tangled. Bring proper footwear, even if you only mean to have a wee wander. And rain here is not an event, it's a constant companion. Let it fall, it's part of the charm. Driving the Duke's Pass is like gliding through a painting. Every turn offers another glimpse of forest and water intertwined. But drive slow. Watch for cyclists, deer, and sudden stops for wonder. Loch Lomond is a perfect resting place. Sit on its stony shore. Breathe. Maybe say nothing for a while. Respect the rhythm. Early mornings belong to the birds and fog. Evenings hum with midges, bring repellent and a bit of good humor. In villages, take your time. Support local cafes. Ask for directions with kindness. Listen, even when you think you know the way. And remember, this park is not just scenery. It's someone's daily life. Hikers and farmers, weavers and school children. Be grateful for the gift of passing through. At night, if you're lucky, stars will ripple across the lochs. Owls will call from shadowed branches. And for a moment, you may forget the sound of your own voice. Because the Trossachs don't speak loudly. They wait, and when they open everything. Oban leans gently into the sea, a crescent of stone and light, where ferries hum in the harbor and gulls trace the sky like drifting punctuation. It is called the gateway to the Isles, but it is more than a departure point. It is a place of arrival, of pause, of salt-sweet air and quiet awakenings. The town curves around its bay like a held breath. Fishing boats bob against their ropes. The scent of smoked fish drifts from the pier. In the evening, the sunset spills itself across the water like melted amber. There's a rhythm here, unhurried, tidal. The streets rise gently, revealing old stone houses and tucked-away cafes. McCaig's tower stands above it all, circular and watching, like an unfinished thought held in stone. Walk the harbor. Let your pace slow. Watch the ferries leave, bound for Mull or Bar or Call, and imagine the journey. Then return to the soft warmth of Oban's hearth. For travelers, it's an easy place to love, where layers, the sea air can turn cool without warning. Good walking shoes will take you comfortably from harbor paths to hilltop views. The seafood is not a suggestion, it's a promise. Try the scallops, the langoustines, the chowder. Buy it from a stall or a quiet bistro, but always with gratitude. Shops here close early. Don't rush them. Say hello when you enter. Smile when you leave. And at night, when the lights shimmer on the bay, Oban feels like a lullaby, one you didn't know you remembered, sung softly in a language you somehow understand. Let's sing you still. The Isle of Mull is a world folded into itself, wild, weathered, and woven with stories whispered by the wind and sea. Here, cliffs rise sheer from churning waters, painted in greens and grays that shift with the light. Lochs nestle deep in valleys, their surfaces smooth like glass, holding reflections of sky and ancient trees. The island breathes a rhythm slow and steady, inviting you to step softly into its fold. From Tobermory's brightly painted houses that splash color onto the harbor, to quiet moorlands where red deer wander like shadows, Mull is a mosaic of contrasts, vibrant and tranquil, bold and gentle. The scent of peat fires drifts on the breeze, mingling with salt and wildflowers. Seabirds wheel and cry overhead, their voices echoing against rocky shores. There is a feeling here of wildness that is also home, untamed yet familiar. Travelers should prepare for change, whether turned swiftly from sunshine to mist. Dress in layers, bring waterproofs, and sturdy boots that grip the uneven terrain. Getting around is best done slowly. Roads wind through hills and glens, often narrow and winding. Patience and care make the journey part of the experience. Local customs are quiet, but meaningful. Greet with a nod or a smile. Respect private land. Wildlife is abundant. Keep distance, especially from nesting birds and deer. Do not feed animals. Food here is a celebration of the sea and land. Fresh fish, shellfish, and locally grown produce find their way to tables in cozy pubs and cafes. Try the smoked salmon or a hearty stew. Take time to explore beyond the towns. Beaches of white sand and wildflowers await. Quiet trails lead to hidden lochs and ancient ruins. At day's end, when the sun dips low and the island softens in the fading light, Mull reveals its heart, a place where wildness and warmth meet, where every moment feels both new and timeless. Fort William sits beneath the shadow of Ben Nevis, Scotland's tallest peak, a town both grounded and reaching, where mountain and valley meet in a quiet conversation. The air here carries the scent of pine and peat, mingled with the fresh chill of rivers running fast from the hills. Streets hum softly with a mix of locals and travelers, each drawn by the call of the mountains. Ben Nevis dominates the skyline, its rugged face carved by glaciers and time, inviting those who seek both challenge and solitude. Fort William itself offers a gentle welcome. Stone buildings hold history quietly in their walls. Cafes and shops invite slow discovery. The West Highland Museum tells tales of clans and climbers, of lives shaped by the land. If you plan to climb or hike, prepare with care. The mountains weather shifts quickly, and the terrain demands respect. Dress in layers. Carry water, food, and a map. Tell someone your plans. For those staying in town, wander the streets, meet locals, and savor hearty Highland fare. Fresh salmon, tender lamb, and warm oat cakes offer comfort after a day outside. Getting around is straightforward. Local buses, taxis, and car rentals are available. Roads wind through dramatic landscapes, so take your time and watch for wildlife. Safety is paramount. Listen to local advice. Follow marked paths. Avoid rushing. In winter, Fort William glows with a different light. Snow softens edges and cozy pubs fill with laughter and stories. At day's end, look west toward the mountain silhouette, breathing the calm that comes from being at the edge of something wild and timeless. Here, in Fort William, the journey and the destination meet, and both leave their mark. The Glenfinnan Viaduct stands like a ribbon of stone stretched across the misted hills, a graceful curve woven into the rugged landscape. It is a bridge not just of steel and concrete, but of memory and motion, linking past and present in every arch. Train whistles echo softly here, mingling with the whisper of wind through pine trees and the distant call of birds. The viaduct is more than a structure. It's a storyteller, carrying tales of steam engines and travelers, of journeys that begin and end amidst this wild, breathtaking land. The surrounding hills rise steep and green, draped with heather and moss. Loch lies quietly below, its dark waters reflecting the shifting sky, sometimes calm and still, sometimes rippled by the breath of the mountains. Approaching the viaduct on foot, You feel the earth hum beneath your steps, as if the land itself remembers the rhythm of countless footsteps, wheels and wheels of steel. The air carries the scent of pine and damp earth, mixed with a faint hint of coal from the old engines. In autumn, the hills blaze with fiery reds and golds. In winter, snow softens every edge, wrapping the scene in a hush of white. Visiting Glenfinnan requires patience and respect. The paths leading here are often narrow and can be slippery after rain. Wear sturdy boots, dress in layers, and carry water and snacks if you plan to linger. Wildlife is abundant but shy. Deer may cross your path, and birds dart through the trees. Observe quietly and from a distance. Leave no trace of your visit. Carry out everything you bring in. If you arrive by train, the sight of the viaduct unfolding outside the window is a moment of magic, an experience that connects you with the romance of travel and the timelessness of the Highlands. Local customs are simple but meaningful. Greet those you meet on the trails. Respect private land and stay on marked paths. For photographers, dawn and dusk offer light that turns stone and water into molten gold, but be mindful of others seeking quiet reflection. At the end of your visit, pause on the viewing platforms and breathe deeply. Here, surrounded by mountains and sky, you may understand why this place captures hearts and imaginations. The Glenfinnan Viaduct is more than a crossing. It is a passage through time, space, and story. Stirling stands as a proud guardian at the crossroads of Scotland's history, where ancient battles shape the future and legends walk alongside the present. The city's streets wind beneath the watchful gaze of Stirling Castle, perched high on volcanic rock like a crown upon the land. From its ramparts, you can see rolling hills, the river Forth twisting gently, and fields that have witnessed centuries of courage and conflict. The air here hums with stories of William Wallace's fierce spirit, of kings and queens who walked these stones, and of people fiercely tied to their homeland. Walking Stirling's cobbled lanes, you feel the weight of history balanced by the warmth of daily life. Cafes spill aromas of fresh baking. Markets buzz with chatter. Locals greet each other with quiet smiles. Explore the castle's halls and courtyards, where stone walls whisper secrets and echoes of old songs. Don't miss the Great Hall, where light filters through stained glass, painting color on worn flags and tapestries. If you visit Stirling, dress comfortably for walking. Weather can shift quickly. Layers and a waterproof jacket are wise companions. Take your time on uneven surfaces and stairs. Respect local customs. Greet with nod or smile, and if attending any events or services, observe quietly and kindly. Sample traditional fare in cozy taverns. Haggis, neeps, and tatties served with a side of hospitality. Getting around is easy on foot or by bus. Parking is available but busy during peak times. Safety is simple here. Stay aware of your surroundings, especially on narrow streets and near historic sites. As the day fades, find a quiet spot to watch the sun set behind the castle silhouette. The sky deepened from gold to indigo, and Stirling feels like a place where past and present meet in soft conversation. Here, history isn't just something to see. It's something to feel. Stirling Castle rises boldly above the town, a fortress of stone and story that holds centuries within its walls. It is a place where history breathes through every arch and corridor, where echoes of kings and queens mingle with the whisper of the wind. Walking to the castle gates, you step into a world of grandeur and resilience. The great hall's soaring ceilings and flickering hard recall feasts and ceremonies long past. The royal palace dazzles with painted ceilings and intricate tapestries, telling tales of ambition and artistry. The castle grounds stretch wide. Gardens bloom with colors that shift with the seasons, while battlements offer sweeping views of rolling hills and the river forest's gentle curves. If you visit Stirling Castle, dress for comfort and weather. Paths can be uneven. Layers and sturdy shoes will keep you ready for the day. Respect the quiet dignity of this place. Speak softly in halls where silence holds memory. Follow all signs and stay on designated paths. Take time to listen to the stories shared by guides, the rustle of leaves, the distant calls of birds. Photography is welcome, but be mindful of others seeking calm and reflection. When hunger calls, the Castle Cafe offers simple fare with warmth and local flavor, perfect for a pause. As you leave, glance back one last time. The castle stands not just as stone, but as a symbol of strength, of history, and of Scotland's enduring spirit. Doune Castle rises like a sentinel from the rolling countryside, its gray stone walls weathered by centuries of wind and story. It feels both timeless and alive, standing quietly as if waiting for footsteps from knights and storytellers to return. Entering the castle grounds, you walk where kings once roamed and where scenes from beloved tales were brought to life. The great hall still holds the echoes of laughter and battle cries, of feasts and quiet moments alike. The castle's towers reach toward the sky, offering views across fields and forests that shift with the seasons, from soft greens of spring to the fiery blaze of autumn. If you visit Doune, wear comfortable shoes for uneven ground and cobbled paths. Dress in layers, as weather can turn quickly here. Respect the castle's history. Move gently through the halls and courtyards. Photography is welcome, but be mindful of other visitors seeking quiet moments. Local guides share stories that bring the stone walls alive. Listen closely and you may hear whispers of the past. The surrounding village offers small cafes and shops where you can rest and enjoy simple Scottish fare, a warming bowl of soup or fresh-baked bread. Travelers should take their time. Doune is not a place to rush but to savor, allowing its spirit to settle in quietly. At day's end, as light softens and shadows lengthen, Doune Castle stands proud, a reminder that history lives not just in books, but in the stones beneath your feet and the stories you carry away. The Wallace Monument rises like a proud spear from the hillside, a tribute carved in stone to courage and freedom. From its summit, the landscape stretches wide. Rolling hills, green glens, and the winding river Forth, all woven into fabric of Scotland heart. Climbing the spiral staircase inside the tower is a journey through history itself. Each step brings you closer to stories of William Wallace, a hero whose spirit still stirs the air. The monument's walls hold relics and memories, weapons, armor, and the echoes of battles fought long ago for liberty and justice. Visitors move slowly, reverently, through this sacred space. The climb can be steep. Wear sturdy shoes and take your time. Respect the quiet reverence here. Speak softly and let the stories settle in your soul. Outside, the grounds offer peaceful paths and quiet benches, perfect for reflection amid the gentle rustle of leaves. Local guides share tales with warmth and pride, inviting visitors to understand the deeper meaning behind the stone. When you stand at the top, gaze out over the land Wallace fought for. Feel the weight and hope of history intertwined. The Wallace Monument is more than a tower. It is a beacon of courage shining across time. Ullapool rests quietly on the edge of Loch Broom, a small fishing village wrapped in the gentle embrace of mountains and sea. Here, the air carries a mingled sense of salt water and pine, and the rhythm of life slows to the steady pulse of tides and seasons. Colorful boats line the harbor, bobbing softly against the docks, while seagulls wheel overhead, their calls mingling with the distant hum of fishermen at work. The town's narrow streets wind between stone cottages and cozy cafes, inviting you to explore at a leisurely pace. Beyond the village, hills rise steep and wild, blanketed in heather and moss, promising trails that lead to quiet lochs and panoramic views. Travelers should dress warmly and be ready for sudden shifts in weather. A waterproof jacket and sturdy boots are essential companions here. Respect the local way of life. Greet with a nod or smile, and move quietly, especially near working docks. Ullapool's food is a celebration of the sea. Fresh fish, shellfish, and locally caught delicacies are served in the town's pubs and restaurants. Try the smoked salmon or fresh crab, a true taste of the Highlands. Getting around is simple but slow. Narrow roads wind through hills, and patience is part of the journey. Safety comes with respect. Watch your step on wet docks and trails, and be mindful of changing weather. At day's end, when the sky softens to pink and gold, Ullapool feels like a quiet secret, a place where nature and community meet in gentle harmony. St. Andrews, a town kissed by the North Sea breeze, holds a quiet grace shaped by centuries of faith, learning, and the game of golf. Its weathered stone buildings and narrow lanes speak softly of history and hope. Walking along the cobbled streets, you sense the rhythm of scholars and pilgrims past, the gentle hum of university life blending with the sound of waves against rocky shores. The ruins of the cathedral and castle stand as monuments to time's passage, silent, majestic, and still alive with stories of devotion and change. The sea air is cool and fresh, carrying hints of salt and seaweed. Beaches stretch wide nearby, their sands shifting with the tides, inviting quiet contemplation or a brisk walk. If you visit St. Andrews, dress in layers. The coastal weather can turn from sun to mist in moments. Comfortable shoes are a must for exploring uneven paths. Respect the town's calm spirit. Speak softly in sacred places and greet locals with warmth and kindness. Food here celebrates the sea's bounty. Sample fresh seafood, from oysters to smoked fish, in welcoming cafes and restaurants. Getting around is easy on foot or by bike. Take your time to soak in the peaceful streets and coastal views. At day's end, watch the sun dip below the horizon, painting the sky with gentle hues. St. Andrews is a place where history and nature blend, inviting you to pause, reflect, and belong. Aberdeen Harbor stretches wide along the North Sea, a bustling gateway where sea meets city. The air here carries a scent of salt and machinery, mingling with the fresh breeze from the ocean. Ships of all sizes come and go. Cargo vessels, fishing boats, and pleasure crafts, each telling stories of trade, travel, and life by the water. Walking along the harbor, you'll hear the steady rhythm of waves against stone, seagulls calling overhead, and the distant hum of cranes and engines. The harbor is framed by granite buildings that shimmer in the sunlight, a testament to Aberdeen's nickname, the Granite City. If you visit, dress warmly and be prepared for wind. Layers and a sturdy jacket will keep you comfortable. Respect the working nature of the harbor. Stay within designated areas and follow all signs and guidance. Local eateries offer fresh seafood caught nearby. Try the Aberdeen Angus beef, or the day's catch prepared simply and with care. Getting around is easy by foot, but keep an eye on your footing near the water's edge. Safety is key here. Avoid restricted zones. Watch for moving vehicles and equipment, and keep children close. As evening falls, the harbor lights twinkle against the darkening sky, reflecting the city's enduring connection to the sea. Aberdeen Harbor is a place where history, industry, and nature come together in a steady, timeless dance. Dundee hums quietly along the Firth of Tay, a city where industry meets creativity and history blends with modern life. Its waterfront glistens under changing skies, reflecting the pulse of a place always moving forward. The city streets are alive with stories, from the ships that once sailed these waters to the vibrant arts and sciences shaping its present. Walking through Dundee, you'll find museums and galleries that invite curiosity, alongside cafes and markets filled with local warmth. The air carries a subtle saltiness from the nearby sea, mingling with a scent of fresh coffee and baked goods. If you visit, dress for changeable weather. Layers and a waterproof jacket will keep you comfortable. Respect local customs. Greet with a smile and move gently through busy streets. Try traditional Scottish fare alongside modern twists. Fresh seafood and hearty stews offer nourishment and comfort. Getting around is simple by foot, bike, or public transport. Traffic can be busy, so stay aware. Safety is straightforward. Be mindful of your belongings and surroundings, especially in crowded areas. As the day fades, Dundee's lights shimmer on the water, a quiet promise of stories yet to come. Girdle Ness Lighthouse stands steadfast at the edge of the North Sea, its beam a guiding light through fog and storm. Against the vast expanse of water and sky, it feels like a quiet guardian watching over ships and shores. The salty breeze carries the sound of crashing waves and distant calls of seabirds. The granite tower, weathered yet strong, holds stories of sailors and storms. Visiting the lighthouse means embracing the rugged coast. Wear sturdy shoes for rocky paths and dress warmly against brisk winds. Respect the lighthouse grounds and stay safe near the cliffs. Take time to breathe in the wild air and watch the sea's endless dance. Though small in scale, Girdle Ness Lighthouse shines with the steadfast spirit of Scotland's maritime heritage. Perched dramatically on a rugged cliff overlooking the North Sea, Doune Castle commands attention with its weather-beaten stones and fierce history. The castle's ruins stand as silent sentinels to centuries of bravery, intrigue, and resilience against the relentless sea and time. Approaching Doune, the salty sea air fills your lungs, mingle with the scent of wild heather and damp earth. Waves crash against the cliffs below, sending spray skyward in a dance of mist and light. The sound is a constant, powerful presence, a reminder of nature's wild strength. The path to the castle winds down steep steps carved into the rock, each footfall bringing you closer to stories etched in stone. Walk carefully. The ground can be uneven and slippery. Within the castle walls, you wander through remnants of towers, halls, and chambers, imagining the lives that once filled these spaces. Hear the echoes of battles fought fiercely for Scotland's freedom, and feel the weight of countless secrets held within these stones. If you visit Dunatar, wear sturdy shoes and dress in layers. The weather here can shift suddenly. Sunlight one moment, see fog the next. Respect the sacred site by following all signs, staying on paths, and leaving no trace behind. Photography is welcomed, but please be mindful of others seeking quiet reflection. Nearby, the village of Stonehaven offers warm hospitality with cafes serving hearty Scottish fare, fresh seafood, oatcakes, and warming teas perfect after a day of exploration. Travelers should allow time to fully absorb the atmosphere. This is a place to move slowly, listen deeply, and let the spirit of the castle settle in your heart. As daylight fades, Dunatar Castle is silhouetted against the setting sun, a timeless guardian watching over the sea and sky. It is a place where history breathes, wild and unyielding, a testament to the enduring spirit of Scotland. Edinburgh Castle stands proudly atop Castle Rock, a majestic sentinel overlooking the city below. Its ancient stones tell stories of kings and battles, of triumph and tragedy woven into Scotland's very soul. As you ascend the winding path, the air carries a blend of history and bustling city life. The panoramic views from the ramparts stretch far, rooftops of Edinburgh's old town, the rolling hills beyond, and the distant Firth of Forth shimmering in the sunlight. Within the castle walls, every corner reveals a chapter of Scotland's past. The great hall's vaulted ceilings echo with the memories of royal feasts and solemn ceremonies. The crown jewels sparkle with timeless pride, symbols of a nation's identity. Strolling through the barracks and dungeons, you sense the resilience and strength that have shaped this fortress. Guides share tales of sieges and celebrations, inviting you to step into a living history. Wear comfortable shoes. The terrain is uneven and there's much to explore. Dress in layers to prepare for Scotland's ever-changing weather. Respect the solemnity of certain areas, and move quietly in places where history's weight is palpable. Photography is welcome, but be mindful of other visitors. When hunger calls, nearby cafes offer hearty fare, fresh soups, locally baked bread, and warming teas that soothe the soul. Take time to absorb the atmosphere, the mingling sense of stone, sea, and history, the distant calls of bagpipes carried on the breeze. As the sun sets, Edinburgh Castle silhouette against the sky is a powerful reminder of Scotland's enduring spirit. Proud, unyielding, and forever watchful. Doune Castle rises like a dream from a misty loch, its stone walls reflecting softly in the still waters that surround it. Nestled where three lochs meet, this castle feels both a fortress and a poem. Rooted deeply in the wild beauty of the Highlands, the air here is crisp, filled with the scent of pine and fresh water. Mist often weaves between the battlements, lending a mysterious hush to the landscape. The gentle lapping of water against stone is a constant, soothing rhythm. Crossing the stone bridge that connects the castle to the mainland is like stepping back in time. Each step echoes with centuries of history, of clans and battles, of love and loss. Inside, the castle's rooms are warm and inviting, filled with antique furnishings and stories etched in every corner. The great hall still whispers with echoes of feasts and quiet moments alike. Visitors should dress in layers and wear sturdy shoes. The weather can shift suddenly and paths may be slippery. Respect the sacred site by walking gently and preserving its peace. Photography is welcome, but please be mindful of other guests. Nearby villages offer charming cafes where you can enjoy fresh Highland fare, smoked salmon, oatcakes, and herbal teas. Travel slowly here. Let the castle's magic settle around you as you breathe in the cool Highland air. As daylight fades, Doune stands silhouetted against the darkening sky, a timeless guardian of beauty and history, an emblem of Scotland's enduring spirit. Arthur's Seat rises boldly above Edinburgh, a rugged sentinel carved by ancient forces, watching over the city with timeless calm. This dormant volcano offers sweeping views where urban life meets wild nature, a place where stone and sky converse. The air here is fresh and often tinged with the scent of heather and earth. Winds whisper through the grasses, carrying the distant murmur of the city below. Each step along the craggy paths reveals new perspectives, jagged rocks, soft moss, and bursts of wildflowers. Climbing Arthur's Seat is a gentle challenge. Wear sturdy shoes and dress in layers to adapt to shifting weather. The paths can be steep, but reward with breathtaking panoramas. Respect the natural landscape. Stay on marked trails and tread lightly to protect this ancient place. Locals cherish Arthur's Seat as a refuge and a reminder of nature's quiet strength amid the city's hum. If you seek refreshment, nearby cafes offer warm drinks and simple fare, perfect after your climb. As you reach the summit, pause to breathe deeply. Look out over Edinburgh's rooftops, the winding Firth of Forth, and the distant hills. Here, time feels both still and alive, and the heart finds a steady rhythm. When the sun begins to set, Arthur's Seat glows softly, a glowing ember in the twilight, inviting you to carry its calm spirit within. The Old Man of Store rises sharply against the sky on the Isle of Skye, a jagged pinnacle carved by time and wind. This iconic rock formation stands like an ancient guardian, commanding awe and quiet reverence. The air here is crisp and pure, carrying whispers of sea and moorland. The sound of distant birds echoes through the valleys, mingling with the soft rustle of grasses bent by gentle winds. The climb to the Old Man is a rugged journey. Wear sturdy shoes and dress in layers, as weather can shift swiftly from sun to mist. Respect the fragile landscape by staying on marked paths and leaving no trace of your passage. The views from the summit reward effort. Sweeping panoramas of rolling hills, shimmering lochs, and the vast sea beyond. It's a place to pause, breathe, and feel the wild heartbeat of Scotland. Local guides recommend carrying water and snacks and pacing yourself to savor the climb. After your hike, nearby villages welcome you with cozy cafes offering warming soups and fresh baked goods, perfect for restoring energy. The Old Man of Store is more than a landmark. It is a symbol of nature's enduring power and beauty, inviting visitors to connect deeply with the land. As twilight descends, the silhouette of the Old Man softens against the sky, painted in fading light, leaving a lasting impression of strength and serenity. The Isle of Arran drifts like a jewel in the Firth of Clyde, where rolling hills meet rugged coastline and ancient forests whisper tales of old. Here, land and sea entwine in a dance as old as time, inviting quiet reflection and discovery. The air is fresh and carries a scent of pine mingled with salt from a nearby sea. Soft waves lap gently against pebble shores, while the hills rise in graceful curves, their heather-clad slopes glowing softly in the light. Walking the island's trails, you'll hear birdsong and the rustle of leaves, a gentle soundtrack to a world both wild and welcoming. Visitors should wear comfortable shoes and layered clothing, as weather shifts can be sudden and brisk breezes common. Respect local life by moving gently through the villages and countryside, greeting with warmth and patience. Erin's food celebrates its land and sea. Try freshly caught seafood, local cheeses, and oat cakes paired with sweet honey. Getting around is easiest by car or bicycle. Roads wind through valleys and along coastlines, each turn revealing new vistas. Safety means being prepared for changing weather and respecting the natural environment. Stay on marked paths and leave no trace. As day turns to dusk, the island softens under a fading light, and a quiet peace settles over hills and shore alike. Erin is a place to breathe deeply, slow down, and let the gentle rhythm of nature restore the soul. The Forth Bridge stretches boldly across the Firth of Forth, a masterpiece of steel and engineering that links past and present. Its crimson arches rise against the sky, a symbol of Scotland's industrial spirit and unwavering ambition. Standing near its base, the air hums softly with the echoes of trains passing over, the rhythm steady and strong. The water below shimmers with reflections of the bridge's latticework, while seabirds wheel and call above. Walking along nearby paths, you feel the blend of human ingenuity and natural beauty, where rugged coastline meets crafted metal. If you visit, wear comfortable shoes and be prepared for coastal winds. Layers will keep you warm and ready for changing weather. Respect the safety zones around the bridge and keep the designated viewing areas. Local cafes offer warm refreshments. Try a traditional Scottish shortbread with tea to complete your visit. The Forth Bridge reminds us of connection, not only across waters, but through generations of hard work and vision. As the sun sets, its structure glows softly in fading light, a beacon of strength standing firm against the sky's changing hues. Nice Point Lighthouse perches on the westernmost tip of the Isle of Skye, a solitary beacon overlooking the wild Atlantic Ocean. Its white tower stands against crashing waves and windswept cliffs, a symbol of guidance and steadfast hope amid nature's raw power. The air here is salty and sharp, filled with the sound of waves pounding against jagged rocks below. Seabirds will overhead, their cries carried on the brisk breeze. The walk to the lighthouse is a journey through rugged beauty, winding paths bordered by wildflowers and grasses, with sweeping views of sea and sky at every turn. Wear sturdy shoes and layered clothing. Weather shifts quickly and the terrain is uneven. Respect the fragile environment by staying on marked trails and leaving no trace of your visit. At the lighthouse, pause to breathe in the vastness. Feel the ocean's energy and the quiet strength of this place. Nearby, small villages offer warm hospitality and fresh seafood, inviting you to savor simple meals after your trek. Nease Point Lighthouse stands not just as a guide to sailors, but as a reminder to all who visit. Even in the wildest places, there's a steady light, a calm presence that anchors the soul. As dusk falls, the lighthouse beam cuts through gathering shadows, a hopeful glow shining across the restless sea. Still waterfall tumbles with wild grace deep within Glen Nevis, a cascade of water that sings its ancient song as it rushes over moss-covered rocks. The roar of the falls fills the glen, a powerful yet soothing sound that echoes through the surrounding mountains. The air here is fresh and cool, scented with damp earth and pine. Mist rises from the base of the waterfall, catching light and creating fleeting rainbows that dance on the breeze. The walk to Stell is a gentle adventure. Follow well-marked trails through lush forest and across wooden bridges. Wear sturdy shoes and dress for changing weather. The path can be slippery in places. Respect the delicate ecosystem by staying on paths and leaving no trace. Take time to pause by the falls, to feel the spray on your face and listen to the water's timeless rhythm. Local guides suggest bringing a packed lunch to enjoy near the stream, surrounded by the quiet beauty of the glen. Stell Waterfall is more than a sight. It is a living presence, a reminder of nature's endless cycle of renewal. As daylight fades, the fall's voice softens, leaving behind a serene stillness that lingers in the heart. Ben Nevis, the highest peak in the British Isles, rises majestically against the sky, a towering sentinel of stone and mist. Its rugged slopes invite both challenge and awe, where earth meets cloud in a dance as old as the mountains themselves. The air here is crisp and cool, carrying scent of heather and mountain air, mingled with whispers of ancient glaciers that shaped this land. The wind often sweeps across the summit, carrying the vast silence of the Highlands. Climbing Ben Nevis is a pilgrimage for many. Wear sturdy boots and layered clothing, and prepare for sudden weather changes that can transform the landscape in moments. Respect the mountain's power by staying on designated paths, leaving no trace, and moving thoughtfully through fragile habitats. The views in the summit reward every effort. Sweeping panoramas of rolling hills, distant lochs, and the endless sky above. It is a place to breathe deeply, to feel small and yet connected to something immense. Local guides recommend pacing yourself, carrying plenty of water, and taking moments to absorb the stillness. After your ascent, nearby villages offer warm hospitality, with hearty meals and cozy fires to welcome tired hikers. Ben Nevis is not just a mountain. It is a testament to endurance, to nature's grandeur, and to the quiet strength found in reaching for the heights. As the sun sets, the peak is bathed in soft golden light, a silent guardian watching over the land below. Scotland's landscapes have whispered their stories to us. From misty lochs to ancient castles, wild mountains to rugged coasts, each place holds a memory, a feeling, a pulse of life that moves quietly beneath the surface. In wandering these lands, we find more than sights. We find connection, respect, and a gentle invitation to slow down, listen, and appreciate the deep beauty of this timeless country. May the echoes of Scotland's hills and waters stay with you, a soft song that calls you back whenever you need a place to dream, to wonder, and to be still. This is Scotland, raw, enduring, and endlessly truthful.